Welcome back to Talk Pittsburgh. The Counseling and Wellness Center of Pittsburgh is offering a safe space for the LGBTQ community. So the founder is now joining me, Stephanie Wijkstrom. I'm so happy to have you here. We were just chatting a little bit, bonding over a lot of food and snacks. I know. Okay, so the big thing I want to dig into, I want to talk about the LGBTQ affirming therapy.
Yes, so LGBT affirming therapy it's different from the typical protocol that we would enact when working with any person. So LGBT folks, they may come in for treatment for anxiety, depression, trauma, but that may show up differently for them because they are members of the LGBT community. So this unique kind of care, it really seeks to affirm and understand the way that their gender or sexual identity is interplaying to create and perpetuate mental health outcomes.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's really hard to even seek therapy and ask for help. And I'm sure, just as a lot of us are, dealing with stress.
Right.
So what are some stressors that members of that community face when they deal with the mental health?
It's such a good and timely question because unfortunately the stresses that people face are, you know, at times they may feel even insurmountable. When you're facing daily and regular discrimination, violence, members of the LGBT community are 9 times more likely to be victims of hate crimes. That's huge. And you know, when you think about your mental health and how your anxiety or depression, the feeling that you experience when you're walking in a world that policies, governmental, religious institutions may not offer a supportive space. So, you know, at our core, we all have a need to biologically to attach, to feel loved, to feel connected and supported. And when anything happens that blocks our ability to feel safe, you know, that matters.
Yeah, that makes me so sad too. So how do you create that safe space to make them feel comfortable?
Yeah, to be inclusive. You know, we're very proud at the Counseling and Wellness Center of Pittsburgh to do our very best to show up and create an inclusive space in our personal and professional lives, and that's something that our community of clinicians is very proud to be a part of. You know, and it starts with being curious, you know, to be curious about yourself, to be curious about other people, and to recognize I don't have all of the answers. There's nobody that has all of the answers, but when you open up that space for dialogue and get really curious about, you know, what is your experience in this world, people, they will tell their story, and, you know, you really being validating and taking the time to understand the emotional interplay that happens with that, you know, with your identity.
I think connecting and just even on, you know, any level is just so important. So that's amazing that you have that space. So what would help somebody to be able to come out to their family and friends?
Yeah. So coming out it's such an important and such a difficult time, and you know, sometimes coming out happens in the teen years or childhood, and you know, when you think about how hard it is to be a teenager under any circumstances, and you know, adding in coming out, that's so vulnerable. So you know, first it's your decision to come out to whom you want to, when you want to, so that's your information, and to absolutely hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, right? So there can be a lot of different reactions, and as you are as patient as you absolutely can be with the people surrounding you, you know, to also have healthy boundaries and recognize when it might be time to pull back.
Yes, you know, I always think to myself too, just with anything, you know, no matter who they are to you, you don't want toxic people around you. You want somebody who's going to love you and understand you and love you for you. So how can people come to therapy to maybe help process internalized homophobia?
This is such a great question. So someone might not even recognize internalized homophobia. It could come out in you know, a fear of coming out. It could come out as, you know, living, you know, just living with that fear, living with shame, living with guilt, self-sabotaging relationships. So, you know, that's really an important space to seek professional help.
So the services that you offer, how can people know where to find you?
So the Counseling and Wellness Center of Pittsburgh, you can find us on the web, www.counselingwellnesspgh.com, or 412-856-WELL.
You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and
Pleasure.
teaching us and opening up our eyes and minds to this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.